Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Attention, attention. Here are some great words of advice to Democrats, liberals, and left-loons. When your horse dies, it's time to dismount. Thank you. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot. Come on, call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Be proud. Good morning. And a good morning, good morning, good morning. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, and here we are, Tuesday, January 9th, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, demanding that you know, and I'm telling you, that they're ready to help you with your wintertime driving. They've got everything at all 7 locations. And, of course, some of our great advertisers, like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Number to call, 678-1191, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone and have our national anthem. We just going to have our Pledge of Allegiance. We may have the national anthem a little bit later. Good morning. You're on the air.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What would you have done, my dear friend, if I would have said, okay, Jerry, sing the national anthem?
I would have probably sang it.
I know you would have. I love that answer. You would have. God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
You have a wonderful day. May the Lord bless you and every one of your people listening.
Thank you, Jerry. You're a good man. Thank you. We're in the middle of winter, and you know as well as I do that we're going to get some cold slap in the face. Yep, we're going to have more cold snaps and a lot of snow, a lot of wind. It's going to happen, and at K&R Rental, they've got all the heaters to keep you snuggy. That's right, Roger and the crew at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. They've got all the heaters necessary to make sure the pipes don't freeze and everything else. You don't freeze. Call them at 678-3122. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
If you're going to be working outside, expect to get wet today because we are expecting some rain showers. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Looks like cloudy skies for today. Yes, 70% chance of rain showers will continue. A little bit on the breezy side as well. Winds out of the southeast, right around 10 miles an hour. High of 44 is what we're looking at tonight. More rain showers in the lower elevations, snow showers in the higher elevations. Low right near 29. Winds are picking up as well. Winds could gust as high as 30 miles an hour for tonight. Tomorrow, 20% chance of snow showers before noon. Partly cloudy by tomorrow afternoon with a high of 35. Partly cloudy and 26 for Wednesday night. And for Thursday, still a slight chance of rain or snow showers in the forecast. Partly sunny skies, high near 40. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
She does a wonderful job. Very good weather forecast, even though it sounds a little moist out there. Our thanks to K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Hayburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. All the tools that you need to finish a job, start a job, and get it done right. You better believe it. And the heaters to stay warm. K&R Rental on the Burley Paul Highway, 678-3122. Don't you forget that Thursday is sale day at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. They're going to bring down the gavel and say it'll bring in lot number 29 at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. And the number to call for cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. 678-9411. Merv May, K. Draghi, Lance UD, the sale that works for you. Sale day on Thursday at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Don't you miss it. Oh my, we got a lot to talk about this morning. First of all, I want to remind everybody, I had some calls last night, and a lot of the folks thought that because yesterday was the State of the State address by Governor Otter, that today would we starting with the Idaho legislative update. No, we're going to start it next Tuesday, and the reason is I talked to Representative Fred Wood and talked to him, and most of the things will start in process during the course of this week, and so we're going to have a lot more information to start next Tuesday at 9:30. Every Tuesday at 9:30, brought to you by Handy Truck Lines. Clay and the crew, I really appreciate them jumping in, and that's going to be starting next Tuesday at 9:30. Wheels, did you have something to say?
No.
Oh, I thought I heard you turn your mic on. I apologize. Want to remind everybody about Darrow's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Hello, Kevin. Hello, Cindy. Hello, the whole crew. You made a mess on the kitchen tablecloth and the tablecloth for Christmas and all the parties and everything you had. Don't tell me that you just wrapped it all up and kind of filed it away thinking, well, I'll get it clean before next fall. No, take it in now. Get all those stains and all of it out of there. And maybe you're needing something else clean. Maybe you spilled on your sports jacket, or maybe, ladies, you spilled on that brand new dress your husband gave you. Oh, my goodness. You better make sure you get it all cleaned. It'll come back looking brand spanking new from Darrow's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Absolutely the best at what they do. Calls are welcome this morning and appreciated at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to make a comment before I get underway here this morning, and this is a congratulatory comment to Kelly Anthem, our senator from this area. Senator Anthem was elected to Senate leadership as he was appointed to the Majority Caucus chair, and I just want to say congratulations. Kelly Anthem was elected the Majority Caucus chairman, one of the 4 leadership positions in the Idaho State Senate's Majority Party, and congratulations to Kelly. Way to go. Hey, by the way, don't forget our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And, of course, they open the doors at 7:30 in the morning. Stay open till 5 every night, 7:30 to 5. And the number to call, 678-0459. I almost choked to death, excuse me. And all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs right there at Ramsey's. They have been in business for well over a half a century. Whoa, I mean, that's pretty doggone impressive. And boy, are they good to work with. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. In just a minute, I want to talk about the national anthem. And I want to talk about the absolutely insane criticism that President Trump is starting to get as of this morning. I'll talk about that in just a second. Denny's Restaurant, don't forget 611 North Overland in Burley, and this is, and it's true, America's Diner. What a great menu. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts, everything delicious. You're going to love it. And they also have another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Thomas and the crew are exceptionally talented at making you feel right at home. And I'll tell you what, they've been so good to my lunch bunch every month. This is the place to go. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and it's true, they are America's Diner. Donald Trump walked onto the football field last night for the NCAA championship between Alabama and Georgia. And I might just jump ahead a little bit and say that I predicted Georgia to win. They did not. However, I am going to really bare my chest, so to speak. I fell asleep. And I did not see the game go into overtime. I did not see Alabama win with a freshman quarterback at the helm throwing a touchdown pass to defeat Georgia 26-23. I did not see that. And I feel bad about it. But now we go back to the original starting point. President Trump walked onto the football field last night, and in my opinion, walking in with the service members all in their dress uniforms, it was very presidential. Now, let me throw some injections here as to what I thought were just very low class. I thought ESPN and their announcers were very low class. Not one comment was made by the play-by-play announcers that Donald Trump was there for the national anthem. They didn't say anything. It was the in-house speaker system and announcer that announced Donald Trump. The announcers for ESPN, did not say anything. They're so left-wing they couldn't, or they probably wouldn't have said something nice. They don't do that. They're extremely left. Well, it was an electric attitude. Donald Trump walked onto the football field, escorted by the military, and the cheering. Oh, yeah, there's going to be people who say, well, yeah, it was 50-50. There were boos and cheers. I didn't hear the 50-50 garbage. And he stood there at attention with his hand over his heart for the playing and singing of our national anthem. And here's where some of the knuckle draggers come in. Some of the knuckle draggers out there on the internet and some of the Democrats are coming out and they are saying that he forgot the words to the national anthem, and that with not singing the words, and they said they were watching his lips. Why, they watched very closely to see if he sang every word. And because he didn't sing every word, and he did not, they're saying that's a sign of dementia, and he's lost his mind. Well, let me just interject something. And I'm not being protective of Donald Trump. I'm being very forthright and honest. I know many, many, many professional singers. I have worked with more professional singers than most at various events all over the United States and Canada. One that comes to mind, or I should say two that come to mind, were the great country group duo Brooks and Dunn. And I can remember vividly being there as an announcer when Brooks and Dunn forgot the words to the national anthem. It happens all the time to various singers of whether it's country, pop, or whatever. Now, that being said, this criticism, these people are coming out of the woodwork like MSNBC's Joe Scarborough saying that the president really needs to go in for a mental evaluation. This thing has been carried so far. It's absolutely repulsive. The man is a multi-billionaire. The man has basically charted his own course throughout all of his life. The man is very astute, and he's very adept at setting a business calendar and meeting it, and that's what he's done for this country. But the left absolutely is bent upon playing this mental instability or losing his mind card, and that's what they're riding on. And as far as I'm concerned, the Demobrats, which I call them, have hitched their mules backward to a wagon that's going nowhere. I'd like your thoughts. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind everybody, while I have a time to visit about some of our great advertisers, that and give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you about the really, really wonderful people that are over at a Pomerel place. Holly and the rest of the crew over there are such nice people, and for all the seniors out there that are thinking, I'm living alone, and I'm really not taking care of myself the way I should, and maybe I better check this out. Well, no maybe about it. You should call today. 677-8212. 677-8212, Pomerel Place, a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley. Absolutely a place for seniors to maintain their independence both safely and comfortably in a wonderful surrounding. Pomerel Place in Burley. You contact them today. By the way, I always love doing this commercial, and then we'll take some calls. Come on, give me a jingle, 436-2244. I want to report on our friends at Dino's Septic Service over in Rupert. Hello, Ken and the crew. I'm telling you, they've got a whole multitude of telephone numbers. I'm going to give you two. One in Rupert at 436-6526. The other in Burley at 678-1638. Fast, fair, friendly service. And the main thing I want you to remember is they do a job that you and I don't want to do. That's right. They take care of all the septic tanks, they pump them out, they take care of the sewer and sink drain lines that need to be cleaned, liquid waste removal. You don't want to get and do that? Well, they do. Fast, fair, friendly service with that great big truck that says smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service in Rupert, absolutely the best at what they do. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Well, hello, Linda.
A number of times I've stood up and thought, Lord, do not let me forget the words to the national anthem. But I've had it happen to me that during a performance, I will forget the words to a song that I've sung and sung, practiced over and over, and know very well.
Linda, I will also say this.
The brain glitches.
Linda, let me throw this into the fray of our conversation. If you have ever stood up in a building, auditorium, or outside venue where there may be a reflection of the sound and it bounces back to you, it is very difficult to sing and or speak without having ear monitors. And sometimes amateurs that stand up and they are out in the middle of a sound like that, they don't forget that they've got to somehow block out the reverb, if you will, and that also could have been a contributing factor.
Yes, absolutely. It's a technique that's been used in speech therapy to help stutterers because it seems to help them speak better and give them the experience of normal speech, but it just absolutely ruins a normal speaker.
Well, how many times on this radio program have you heard persons call in, and even myself, I remember over a year ago with Gina, she was running the board, and we were kind of having a friendly argument over who was going to do the Pledge of Allegiance that morning. I said, okay, I'll do it, and I got right down to the point where I said, under God, and I forgot the word indivisible. So I don't like these people that think they're so perfect that you can't make a mistake with the national anthem or the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right, and to use it as they are and say all kinds of things, they're the ones who need the mental health exam, let me tell you.
And you as a singer, I have done quite a bit of what you do, and I've been on television and everything. Your mind is racing ahead, maybe at a point of thinking you got to do this, you got to hit this note, or you've got to remember that. And sometimes, all of a sudden, there is a brain bubble, and you forget the words.
Mm-hmm. They just aren't there. Oh, I hate that when it happens. And the only thing I can say is, I know that if I have no other help, I forgot the words. Because I usually do not have any music in front of me.
That's right.
Under those circumstances.
And honesty is the best policy.
Yeah.
There you go. Linda, God bless you.
But for them to use it the way they've used it is just absolutely You just don't believe them.
The liberal loons on the left, they have nothing to go on. Like I said earlier, they have hitched their mules backwards to a wagon that's not going to go anywhere.
Right. I love it.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Thank you. Wonderful lady and a great singer right there. Caller, I'm coming. Just give me about 10 to 30 seconds. Probably 30. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with Nick and the whole herd of great physical therapists. Wow, these people are good. Wow, they know the various exercises to help you. Wow, they've got that hydrotherapy pool, the only one of its kind in the area. Whoa! And you know what? All you've got to do is call them at 678-1191, make an appointment so they, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, can help you get back to being you. Call them today, 678-1191, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Caller, thank you for your patience. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I am good, thank you.
I saw something this last weekend that I thought was really, really neat, and I thought I'd share it with everybody. Now, we went to the Minico, a Burley game, basketball game. We were sitting in the top stands on the north end, and there's wrestling mats on the backside back there. And there must have been 50 old kids ranging from 4 to 10. And when the national anthem started to play, I heard something that was overriding the band. And those kids all stopped, put their hands on their hearts, and they sang the anthem from the beginning to the end.
Wow.
And it was so neat to watch that I thought that it ought to be recognized.
You know, and I'm glad you called. It's so easy for us in the media to criticize the younger generation and say they're not doing this or they're doing this wrong or whatever, but when you see something like that, all of us should applaud the youth and the way that they handled a very good situation. Sir, thank you for your call, and God bless you for your comment this morning.
Thank you.
You betcha. Thank you. You know, and I appreciate him calling. There's so many great instances of young people doing the right thing. And that, of course, is a mirror reflection of how their moms and dads raised them at home. God bless them. But, you know, going back to the original problem of the left this morning, sitting there, and I've got a whole bunch of different emails that have been on the internet. And, was he struggling with the national anthem? Duh. Maybe he's losing his mind. And they keep going on and on like this. But, you know, anybody that's honest, and anybody that has been in that position, and I have been in that position literally thousands of times, to where I have been called upon to either give the Pledge of Allegiance or a prayer, whatever. And also, on a couple of occasions, yes, I've had to fill in with the national anthem itself. And all of a sudden, a very white light goes across your mind, and you say to yourself, can I remember the words? So don't give me any garbage out there in Radio Land. Nobody criticize this president in front of me regarding that national anthem. It's a song that, unless you sing it all the time, and it even happens to singers that do sing it all the time, that sometimes there's a little brain bubble and you forget the words. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. But as far as the Democrats, and I'd like you to comment on this because in a few minutes I'm going to do one more quick commercial, and then we have with us on the phone Can I try that again? I'd sure like to. Minidoka County Sheriff's Department Officer Dave Pinther is on the phone. So stand by, Dave. I'm coming. I'll be right there. Don't forget Urgent Cares of Magic Valley, and there's 3 locations. Riverview Urgent Care at 382 North Overland and Burley. Wonderful people. Urgent Care of Jerome at 133 West Avenue A, and Urgent Care of Twin Falls at 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin. Offering and providing services of economical health care, the best of health care to you and your family. Absolutely. And businesses, too. Don't forget to give them a call or stop in, find out more. They offer a plan with no premium that can help you manage high deductibles and help save you health care money. You get treated, not seated, no appointment needed. They're open 7 days a week with extended hours and always with a qualified provider on staff. Don't forget our friends at the Urgent Cares. Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Urgent Care of Jerome, and Urgent Care of Twin Falls. On the phone with me right now with the Minidoka County Sheriff's Office, and I want to tell you, I really have a lot of appreciation for what they do. Dave Pinther, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you?
I want to compliment you, Dave, for coming on the air basically with no advance warning and filling in a little need that I wanted to fill this morning regarding National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. But before we get into that, Dave, what exactly is your title and capacity with the Minidoka County Sheriff's Office?
I am the Chief Deputy, right under the Sheriff, Sheriff Eric Snar.
And so does that mean, quite frankly, if Sheriff Snar is out of the office or out of the area, you are the man in charge?
That is correct.
Okay. Now, I want to get into a little bit quickly, Dave, about what's going on today. This is a special day, and I, for one, applaud, and I want this to be said, and I want everybody to understand. I, for one, will always stand up for law enforcement and our military. And National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day on January 9th is a day that we all should just say to our men in blue, the military, and everybody else, thank you for what they do. Basically, what do you think, Dave, has the respect for law enforcement, in your opinion, diminished over the last 10 years?
Overall it has. In our area, we don't see that quite as much as they do in the big cities, but we still see it here, too. But, every law enforcement every officer of every rank and file, they've chosen a profession that puts their lives on the line every day for our communities. They answer that call to the public service that's demanding and often unappreciated. And the National Law Enforcement Day, Appreciation Day, is the way that the communities have the opportunity to thank those officers.
Absolutely. Wheels, over at the station, you've got to turn him up a little bit this morning, please. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, Dave, is on a nationwide level, regardless of whether it's Minidoka County, whether it's Sacramento, California, Chicago, Illinois, whatever. Let's go into the whys a little bit. Why have we as a society let and allowed a disrespect for police? What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think a lot of it, Zeb, is... officers aren't perfect. We make mistakes, like everybody in the private sector make mistakes. But what's happened now with the social media and the things that are out there, those mistakes get put out there so much more, and they get spread so much more. And there are those officers that give all the rest of them the bad name. But, in my honest opinion, I think there's a lot more better officers than there are bad officers out there.
I couldn't agree more. Just recently, in the last couple of days, Dave, I lost a friend of mine that was with the Twin Falls Police for many, many years. As a matter of fact, Bill Stonemetz had been with the police force when I moved out here in 1969. And I've known him for all these years, and always helping, always sharing in the community, always helping the kids, always trying to be a real role model. And I, for one, am sick and tired of the negativity that's going on in this country against our police. And what can we do as citizens to try to restore a value system? Give me some ideas.
Well, one, like today especially, a person could go in and change their social media profile to support law enforcement. Social media is so huge in our country anymore. Thing you can do, if you see a police officer, thank them. Thank them for the service that they're giving out there in the communities. cards of support to your sheriff's department, police departments, your state police, whoever you want to do that with. Share positive stories that are out there. Those positive stories that come in, we don't hear very often.
Absolutely.
But, boy, they sure help us in our morale and everything like that when that happens, when those good stories come across.
Absolutely.
It's even us. We like to have a pat on the back, too, sometimes.
Absolutely. Dave, I'd be amiss if I didn't ask you, because how many years have you been in law enforcement?
About 25 total.
All right. So you can answer this question, and you've got I think, a very good reasoning behind your answer, I would assume. When you heard, first of all, about National Football League, Colin Kaepernick with the 49ers kneeling and disrespecting our flag, but even prior to that, at practice sessions, they showed him wearing socks that portrayed the police as pigs. And then this thing has escalated to the point where the liberal left has picked up Kaepernick as a poster boy, and just yesterday he was picked to be on the cover of the New Yorker magazine along with Martin Luther King, a cartoon drawing, and also another football player, Michael Bennett with the Seahawks, as real heroes for kneeling and taking a knee during the national anthem. What are your thoughts about all this?
Well, I'm not going to say bad things about any one person, but I do not support that in any way. No how, nothing. I love the national anthem. I absolutely think it's the greatest song that's ever been written or sung, and it will continue to be that way as far as I'm concerned. I think there's other ways of showing their support for something, but that national anthem, we had a lot of people, a lot of veterans that have given their lives, that are still giving their lives to have the right for them to be able to say what they want to say. And I do not support that myself in any way.
One final thought, and then I'll let you go because I know you got a meeting to go to, Dave. But police officers, they get involved in their community. They get involved in various functions. They are a community asset. And all I can say to you, and I mean this, and all the other brethren that wear the blue every day protecting us, God bless you and thank you for what you do.
Well, we really appreciate that. And we wish the community would get more familiar with what we do on a day-to-day basis. We have citizens academies at some of the departments. We have ride-alongs. We have tours for the younger scout troops and Girl Scouts, things like that. And I wish people would, come get familiar with us on a day-to-day basis, too, and because that's who we're out there to protect.
Absolutely. Dave, again, kudos to you, because nobody had given you any forewarning about this other than just maybe minutes before this program. But the Chief Deputy of Minidoka County Sheriff's Department, Dave Pinther, I really mean a big thank you to you, and please come back in the future.
Well, thank you. Appreciate you, Zeb.
All right, sir. Have a great day. Thank you much.
You too.
Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, and literally, I called Sheriff Snar. He is in a meeting, and he said, would you please have Dave Pinther come on? And I said, absolutely, and I appreciate that. You know what? Walk up to an officer today, or maybe even just call the police department or whatever and say, you know what? I'm so-and-so, and I want to say thank you for what you do. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to talk a little bit about Oprah Winfrey. Oh, am I starting to have a little gas over this situation? We'll talk about it in just a minute. Hey, don't forget Berry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts, and they've got three, not one, not two, but three great locations right here in the Magic Valley. South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Oh my, all the equipment rentals, all the retail equipment sales, they do have all the equipment to get the job done right, including a whole herd of bobcats. I guess, what do you say, a passel of bobcats or something? They've got them all shapes and sizes, new and used, all the bobcats at Berry Equipment and Rental. Stop in and see them today at South Lincoln, Jerome, Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. What would you say? How would you feel if Oprah Winfrey were the next president of the United States of America. I asked yesterday for a lady or ladies to call me and give me their opinion about Oprah. Maybe she'll all give us a bunch of free cars. Remember that. But I'm a little bit more than worried. Oprah Winfrey, all of a sudden, like a bolt from the blue, has emerged in a cloud, and the Democrats are seeing a shining light. Why, it might be Oprah as President of the United States. Whoa. She gives a speech, an acceptance for an award speech at the Golden Globes the other night, and the Democrats and the left are treating that speech as if it were her inaugural address. Wow. Oprah Winfrey. Remember when she thought that Barack Obama could walk on water? Somebody had told him where the rocks were. And she absolutely was devoted to Mama Obama and Barack Obama and loved his policies and railed on and on about, the savior of the world. I'm a little worried. Don't be misled by Oprah Winfrey. I am going to come out and say this morning, I think the woman is very evil, even through that smiling persona, getting you to eat cauliflower and potatoes. And she is very devious. Some of the mental giants on the left are already hailing Oprah as the nation's healer. Whew. Caller, good morning. What do you think about all this?
Well, you asked the question yesterday, and last night when I got home from home from work, I was talking with my wife, and I brought that up to her. She said there would be no way in hell that she would vote for her. She has no idea what's going on. She's a self-interested person, and as a woman herself, she has no interest in it at all. Period.
You know, I'm really interested. Riley, let me ask you this. There's got to be more than just a substantial no, but what are some of the reasons that your wife does not like Oprah?
She thinks she's a fake, not in touch with reality. As far as she lives in an ivory tower, she doesn't really see what everybody's going through. She only wants to deal with people on her show and people that support and awe of her, like she's a goddess, and will emperor her, act like she's a queen, you know what I mean? Somebody who will praise her and wants to be at the top of everybody's focus of attention. She doesn't really want to get out and be interested in people that are hardworking and don't have time to sit and watch TV.
Well, I would say that if, and boy, I know this is a lot of pie in the sky right now, but it's something that needs to be discussed. But if she does run, and assuming, a big assumption here, that she wins the nomination for the Democrats to be their party leader for the presidency, you know, all I'm seeing and all I'm hearing and all I'm reading is the fact that she espoused all of Barack Obama's policies and she is extremely liberal, pardon me, and we would be seeing very possibly 8 years or 4 years minimum of the same type of philosophy that got us into this mess in the first place from Barack Obama.
Oh, I agree. I wouldn't put it past her to, if she became president, to have a hotline directly to him or Michelle Obama to find out what should she do next. Because that's just, you know, she's there in the limelight all the time, but she's not there in the real world.
Well, and I really appreciate your calling in, and go give your wife a hug and tell her that she's pretty doggone smart, okay?
Yeah, she is.
Okay, buddy.
Marry me, but by golly, I got it handled.
All right, Riley. Thanks much. Appreciate it. Yeah. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I can quickly tell you about some of the stances that this woman has taken. She has advocated in the past for 12 million undocumented immigrants to get legal status in this country. She has advocated for much stricter gun control. Those are her words. She has been very supportive of the gay, lesbian, and LGBTQ, or whatever all their initials they want to throw at you, all their lifestyles. And I'm very concerned. I'm going to just be blunt about this. People don't like it, turn the dial. I'm very concerned that she would be a greater division of racism in this country. Even greater a problem, if you will, than the creation of the problem by Barack Obama. Those are my thoughts. I'll stand behind it. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Right now, let's go to the weather, brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and the number to call for a hearing screening, 312-0957. Are you having a little trouble hearing the kids? Did you miss the phone that was ringing 37 times? We'll get a hold of her today. Dr. Christine Pickup, audiology doctor for over 10 years. She knows what she's doing. 312-0957. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
If you're going to be working outside, expect to get wet today because we are expecting some rain showers. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Looks like cloudy skies for today. Yes, 70% chance of rain showers will continue. A little bit on the breezy side as well. Winds out of the southeast, right around 10 miles an hour. High of 44 is what we're looking at tonight. More rain showers in the lower elevations, snow showers in the higher elevations. Low right near 29. Winds are picking up as well. Winds could gust as high as 30 miles an hour for tonight. Tomorrow, 20% chance of snow showers before noon. Partly cloudy by tomorrow afternoon with a high of 35. Partly cloudy and 26 for Wednesday night, and for Thursday, still a slight chance of rain or snow showers in the forecast. Partly sunny skies, high near 40. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And Gina, thank you. Brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Dr. Christine Pickup, doctor of audiology, and her staff, they really can help you. Call for an appointment, a hearing screening today at 312-0957. Come on, I want to hear from you folks. You're not waterlogged out there, are you? I know we're supposed to get 100% chance of rain today. I was listening to a couple of the stations, television stations last night, excuse me, during the news, and they had 100% for rain. Here today, boy, I tell you what, it's going to be wet, they said. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Next week, I want to remind you quickly, we are going to start on Tuesday, the 16th, next week, the legislative update. And it's going to be 30 minutes, and we're going to have interviews with Senator Kelly Anthem, Speaker of the House Scott Betke, when he can put the gavel down and run outside and get on the phone, and also a great man, Representative Fred Wood, and other of their guests coming on the program. And I want to say a big shout-out to Handy Truck Lines. Clay and the rest of the folks over there, they are going to sponsor the opening and closing of that half hour, and we really do appreciate all their involvement. So I thank all of our legislators, and it's going to be a great session. Some people have called me already this morning and said, well, how come you're not starting it today? Well, the reason is that I talked to Representative Fred Wood about 2 weeks ago, and he said, you know what, let's give it a week. Let's give it a week of being in the session, everybody getting in their various committees, kind of settling into their chairs and finding out what's going on, and start it on the 16th, which makes a lot of sense to me. So it's going to start next Tuesday at 9:30 right here on Zeb at the Ranch. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There are other things to be worried about in this country, especially if you are white, a Caucasian. I was reading a story yesterday that came across my desk, and then I heard a related newscast about it last night on the news, that at some major universities in our country, one of which comes to mind, Central Florida University. They are teaching courses now at these universities on white racism and white privilege. You know, why? Why are we trying to destroy the fabric of unity in this country? Very unfortunately, from the beginning of this country all the way through the Civil War and to today, it's been a tough fight to try to get people to look past people's color and just meet them as people. And now the reverse psychology is starting up in the colleges, and it's kind of the in thing right now. Oh, did you go to Professor so-and-so's class? Yeah, we got to hate whitey. We got to learn how to get rid of them. They're ruining America. These are not my statements. These are some of the things that are said by students. And we're seeing now courses taught in white racism, and whites can't do anything right. And anything that the whites in Congress propose is anti-everybody else. I mean, this is not me. This is what they're teaching. And white privilege. Let me ask you folks something. How many of you out there listening today, whether you're in your kitchen, whether you're at your office, or whether you're driving down the road, and you're a Caucasian, what was privileged to you to make your life better? At birth, did a doctor or someone walk into the room with you and your mother and hand you a silver spoon? Did you get a free pass on the Monopoly board of life to where you skipped all the lower class, Baltic Avenues, etc., and advanced right to Park Place because of your color? I didn't. I surely didn't. I've had to work for everything I've got. Nobody at any time in my life has ever handed me a great big rolled up parchment piece of paper that says, "Here, life is great, it's free, go ahead and take it." I don't think they did for you either. And this white privilege thing is really becoming annoying to me, and I think all of us should be really prepared, whether it's at church, whether it's at a business meeting, wherever it might be, for people to play that white privilege card in the future. Maybe not so much here in this area, but it's going to happen nationwide. What are your thoughts on this? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. My dad and mother, of which have passed away quite some time ago, were very hard workers. My dad got up and went to work and had to be at work at 5 in the morning, and a lot of times did not get home until close to 6 o'clock at night. My mother also worked very hard, had a job, and was also a great housewife back in the 50s and 60s. There was no white privilege. Caller, quickly, I've got a minute left. Go ahead.
Okay. I know 99% there's no white privilege, but there is some white privilege in the USA, and all you have to do is look at Chelsea Clinton.
Okay. All right. I'll buy that.
She went to school. She come out of school, got a 6-figure job right away.
I totally agree. She's a good example, and she also recently it was found out that she praised the Church of Satan and wished them a Happy New Year.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'll take this other call. Doug, call me back in a little bit. I need to have you call back. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Caller, quickly. I've got 1 minute left. Go ahead.
Yes, I'll make it quick, too, Zeb. And when I hear this about white privilege, it absolutely makes my blood curdle, because I am the youngest of 4 boys, and my dad passed away when I was about 4 years old. And so my mom was left up there until the other boys got a little older, could help and everything. She worked 2 jobs. And I'm telling you what, for everything that we did have, is my mom's sweat and everything just to get us to where we were.
Amen.
Her love and everything to it.
Amen.
And we didn't really have anything extravagant. I mean, but she made sure that we had enough for clothes on our back and food to eat, a roof over our house. And so with that being said, and to hear these idiots talking about white privilege, I feel like crowning them all.
There you go. I appreciate your call, as I always do, sir. God bless you, and Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I'd like to have more time to discuss this. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Get ready for winter driving, and I'm telling you what, you better look outside. Yeah, you say, well, it's raining outside. Sure it is, but oh boy, if it turns to ice, look out. You're going to need some traction tires, and the best of traction tires are right over at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. All the traction tires for your car, pickup, SUV, whatever. All the tire chains, the best in brake service, the best in front end alignment, shocks and struts, and the best in batteries. Oh, if it turns cold, you better make sure you've got a good battery. Get ready for winter driving at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. They are the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Got to run to the news. I'll be back in 7. Oh, my. Here we go. Hour number 2 on a very soggy Tuesday, January 9th. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor. Thank you to your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, urging you better be ready for all the wintertime driving, and they've got the best of traction tires to serve you. Stop in and see them today. And also some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Number to call, 678-1191. They can help you get back to being you. Also, quickly, I want to remind everybody about our friends and Wheels over at the station. Would you play the jingle for our great friends at Western Waste?
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
I urge you to get on the route service. Call them at 734-6969, and once a week they'll come by, pick up your garbage. You can stand there in the house and wave goodbye. It's gone. It's out of there. You don't have to mess with it. They'll take care of it. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. What's that number again, Zeb? Tell them. 734-6969, Western Waste Services. And real quick, before we go to our dear friend James Herson, I want to remind you about our friends over at Ark Animal Hospital, 750 21st Street, near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. They are the best. Absolutely voted Minnecacha's best veterinary hospital multiple times. Dr. Bill and the crew over there, mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them and take care of them all. All your pets, all your livestock, with the best of care. And keep them healthy. Ark Animal Hospital, where they have warm hearts for cold noses. 678-1177. Right now, I don't know if his nose is cold or not, but he's a doggone good Hollywood reporter and legal analyst, attorney James Herson. Good morning, James. How you been?
Hey, fantastic. How are you, Zeb?
Not too bad. What's going on down in the Sunshine State?
Well, the Sunshine State, it's raining. We have these terrible problems in California. We have earthquakes, and we have mudslides, and then the worst of all, we have Jerry Brown. So it's very hard. It's very hard in California. But, look, everybody's talking about the Golden Globes, and they're praising, and I say everybody meaning the left and left-wing media, praising this Oprah Winfrey speech.
Yeah.
I would just ask anyone that thinks it's a great speech, to actually get a transcript and read what she said, because it's a bunch of cliches. It's when she's talking to a left-wing audience of people who are trying to assuage their guilt over the sexual impropriety scandal, she comes out with feminist diatribe cliches, demagoguery. And there was nothing original, nothing stirring or inspirational about the speech, and it wasn't delivered all that well considering Oprah's skills. And this idea that Oprah Winfrey, because she's a celebrity, because she has a known brand, is the answer for the Democrats is ludicrous. There are today, this morning, all over social media, about half a dozen pictures going around of Oprah either with her arm around Harvey Weinstein, kissing Harvey Weinstein, hugging Harvey Weinstein, and she was known as a backer, a promoter, and defender for years of Harvey Weinstein. This is a pinnacle of hypocrisy, what she did. So, and there's all kinds of things that, you know, the press is ignoring about Oprah, but I know that Joe Biden's people and Elizabeth Warren's people and Andrew Cuomo's people, the vicious opposition research of the Democrats, the Fusion GPS people, they know where to look. And Oprah Winfrey, she puts her toes into this, she is going to experience something that she's never experienced in her entire life. And I don't know if she can take it.
James, I have a cartoon that was sent to me already this morning, and it shows Oprah in a cartoon drawing coming down through the clouds, basked in sunshine and radiance as the nation's new healer. Doesn't that make you just want to bow down and just say, amen, brother?
Yeah, right. And there you brought up the really powerful part of Oprah's background. Because, you know, people portray Oprah as this, she's so wonderful. She is so inspirational. And the fact is, there are two things about Oprah that are not wonderful, at least for most Americans if they examine it. One is she is the biggest promoter ever in the history of the Western world of New Age philosophy.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know what this is, but this is real empty-headed, phony religion that is anti-Christian, anti-Jewish, anti-Judeo-Christian, and it is dangerous stuff, because there's even a woman who was listening to one of Oprah's shows that decided that, based on what she heard on Oprah, that she could shape reality with her mind, because she was a god, you see. This is what Oprah was preaching,
right,
that people are gods. And this woman went off her meds when she was treating for cancer and died. In the late 80s, Oprah promoted a book called Discover the Power Within You. And that was the beginning of kind of a New Age thing. Her book club has made these New Age books become very widespread. She went on to A Course in Miracles, which is a very famous New Age book. They love it in Hollywood because New Age gurus flourish in Hollywood. And then she went on in the 21st century to promote this book, The Secret. And The Secret is the book where, you know, claiming to alter reality with your mind. It's that sort of thing. Oprah claims that she's a Christian, but her teachings teach that the Jesus that she talks about is really the same Jesus atheists talk about.
Yeah, yeah.
And so she goes against religion, and what's very important is that she teaches amorality. a non-moral world. She teaches young people the hookup culture. She embraces licentiousness. She embraces something that most people who live in parts of America that are called flyover country would not want their kids to indulge in. So this is perfect for Hollywood, a phony spirituality where they can feel like they're involved in some sort of religious activity, but it poses no demands on them to change their lifestyle. And this is exactly the kind of, teaching that led to the problems and the scandals in Hollywood.
Right.
And so Oprah does not represent something positive. And if we look closely at her brand, and this is what they're talking about now, the presidency has changed. It's all about brand. And according to the left, Donald Trump could not have won the election based on issues or substance, because after all, according to the left, he's a bigot. But the fact is he did win in great part on issues, particularly on the discussion of the borders and immigration, world trade, and foreign policy. And Oprah has no stands on issues. Oprah has no branding that makes her a managerial leader like Donald Trump did. Oprah is a person that gives away cars and that has an empty daytime talk show that discusses gibberish. So when you peel it away, this is going to be a lot easier for the Democrats. And there's a whole host of them. I forgot to mention Kamala Harris. And these are tough customers. So Oprah's, and it looks like she really is thinking seriously about doing this, but she's not going to come out of this without a lot of wounds.
Well, Jim, let me ask you this. The endorsing part of what she stands for as far as Barack Obama. She endorsed a lot of his policies, or most of his policies, especially on immigration and economy and things like that. So what I'm saying is, if I see Oprah Winfrey running as the nominee on the Democratic Party ticket, I'm seeing a continuation of the endorsing of the policies that put us in this mess today from Barack Obama. Am I wrong?
No, I think certainly you're not wrong. I mean, you could make that argument by virtue of endorsing, but Oprah is going to try, if she runs, to be as vague as she possibly can when it comes to policies, because her advisors are going to tell her that. I mean, I just honestly think that based on all this New Age stuff she's done, I don't see her being able to win southern states. And I think, but you bring up an important point. Once she comes out and takes stands on the issues, then all of a sudden a lot of this bloom will be off the rose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing to me. What a time we live in, Zeb. When you read people who are labeled as conservatives out there praising Oprah, Bill Kristol, saying, oh, what a welcome thing. The Never-Trumpers are out there praising Oprah Winfrey. And what's really ironic is about 2.5 years ago, there was a candidate who floated the idea that Oprah would be a good vice presidential pick as a running mate. And that candidate was castigated, criticized, was, treated, well, it was Donald Trump. And he did it twice. He brought up the idea of Oprah being a VP pick. I'm sure he had his tongue in his cheek at the time and was criticized. And the same people, the Never-Trumpers, who said, we can't have an empty suit reality star run for president, someone who's never run for political office before. Now, all of a sudden, they've completely turned a 180 because they think, and there's article after article talking about this. One thing, they take it for granted that Oprah would win the primaries. Mm-hmm. I do not. Secondly, they take it for granted that Oprah would win in 2020. And so she's the new savior, like you pointed out. I think that's ludicrous, especially the way the country's going, the way consumer confidence is high, the way people feel when they hear the truth about what happened to ISIS. And so it just, to me, it's just typical Hollywood form over substance superficiality.
James, a lot of people on talk shows don't want to talk about this subject that I'm going to bring up with you because they're afraid of it. They're cowards. I am not. I looked at this situation with Oprah Winfrey, and I look at the situation with the liberal left pandering for votes of all races, especially trying to bring in a multitude of new people that are illegals that would vote for their policies and their tactics. And I look at race. And quite frankly, with the division of races in this country right now and the animosity and the hatred that's being perpetrated, I am really afraid of the white Caucasians in this country with possibly another new black leadership in the White House when you're hearing about colleges and universities studying and preaching white racism and white privilege. I'm not afraid to bring it up, and I don't think you're afraid to talk about it.
Oh, not at all. I mean, there's a form of reverse racism that now is completely acceptable to the left and to the media. This idea of punishing people because of their ancestors. It's evil. It's just plain evil. And I think that you're right. The polarization in this country is at a fever pitch. And Barack Obama is largely responsible for that polarization. He set people against each other, and the Democratic Party thrives on setting people against each other. But I just, I feel as though the results that are going to spring from the tax reform that was passed at the end of the year, the deregulation, we are going to see, and we're already seeing the signs of it, but we're going to have an economic boom like we haven't had since the Reagan years, and it may even, go past that. And look, it kind of reminds me, like my most recent article, Zeb, I hear these people, they're tearing their hair out and wringing their hands about the mental state of the president, and they went crazy over the Twitter response to Kim Jong-un, claiming that it was irresponsible. And what are the results of that Twitter response? The results are that for the first time in decades, North Korea and South Korea are talking. The United States announced today we're sending a delegation over there. It's the Twitter account, and the title of my article is, Trump's Twitter account is keeping us safe, because the strong language that he used and about the bigger button and the button works is absolutely something that keeps this brutal young dictator, Kim, keeps him on edge, and sends a message that the United States has a strong leader that is willing to act and act with the appropriate response if he does anything that would endanger our people. That's exactly what Americans want. And the problem with polling right now is that you mentioned something about, people don't have the courage to talk about some of these issues. Well, certainly they don't. And so that's one of the reasons the polls were so far off for prior to the presidential election. And I think the approval polls are off right now.
James, you're an attorney. I bow to your knowledge in all things legal, but I will say this. If you're standing up in a courtroom and a court case and a verbal seed is planted, whether it's against the prosecution or against the defense, it's pretty hard to get that out of the juror's mind, and it may be a very strong reflection on how they're going to vote, guilty or not guilty. Well, the Democrats and the left have planted a seed about Trump's mental so-called instability and possible dementia. This thing is growing like a cancer. How can it be stopped?
Well, look, I think the thing to remember is this is standard left-wing playbook stuff. I mean, we look back, remember that they referred to Reagan as an amiable dunce, and then all the rumors came out about dementia. And they tried it. As a matter of fact, Trump even referred to it in a tweet that they did that. And they did it with George W. Bush with his malaprops when he would come up with words that were unusual. They basically depicted George W. Bush as a dumb cowboy. And so, yeah, this is, as the Russia collusion attempted coup comes, it fails. Now we've got Plan B and Plan C. They cannot accept the Trump presidency. They can't accept that Hillary Clinton lost, and now she's being investigated. So they come up with other plans, and one of them is this mental deficiency, which has come to the fore, numerous times during the year, but because of the tweet, the Kim Jong-un tweet, it really came to the fore. And now everyone at MSNBC and CNN apparently have all trained in psychiatry, and they now know how to diagnose an individual by his tweets. It's really an amazing thing. So they trot out these fake experts like this Yale professor who looks to me to be certifiably insane himself, to say that the president, is not stable. And this is a guy who, it's interesting. I mean, a guy who built up businesses that had 10,000 employees, that did run a reality show that was successful, that ended up beating all of the contenders in the Republican Party and then winning the general election on his first time out. But apparently for them, that's a sign of stupidity. So and that's kind of the way the president's been tweeting. This is starting to remind me of the old Roadrunner cartoon, and where the Wile E. Coyote gets his Acme box, and it's the left-wing Wile E. Coyote, and Trump's tweets are him saying beep beep, and he runs down the road.
Absolutely. James, I wished I had more time because there's about 3 or 4 more subjects I wanted to get into with you, but just make me feel really comfortable this morning that you don't think in the near future that we're going to wake up to a sunrise and see Oprah coming down from the heavens. Please tell me no.
No, I think if I'm waiting on the second coming, it's not going to be her. It's going to be the real Messiah coming back.
There you go.
Her. And I don't believe that she's a serious candidate. I know this sounds like what they said about Trump, and I think it's going to be proven that Trump won on substance, and Oprah has none. So I don't see her as the next president either. And there's an awful lot of people who lined up with swords drawn, and most of them are Democrats, and they're going to slice her to ribbons.
Okay. You are the best at what you do, and I always look forward to having you on the program. Hollywood reporter and legal analyst James Herson. God bless you, James. Thank you for being on the program.
God bless you, Zeb. Have a great week.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. He really cuts to the chase, and I like having him on the program. He's on Fox many, many times, whether it's Hannity or whether it's Tucker, and I really appreciate him. James Herson from California. Holy cow, I want to remind everybody about my dear, dear friend Joel Heward and his staff and his family over at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call, number to remember, 436-5636. You know, when there's the passing of a loved one, I've said this many, many times in the past, everything stops, and you just don't know what has to be done in such a short period of time. And they at Hanson Mortuary can help and will help. All you have to do is give them a call, and they're there for you, always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Joel Heward and the staff at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, serving you and your family. And don't forget, Joel also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Well, we got a lot of things to do this morning, and a lot of thank yous go out. And I can tell you also there is a big, big deal happening over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland and Burley. Listen to this, mattresses. There is nothing better or more important for a good night's sleep to be well rested and hit the floor a-running the next morning than a brand new, good-feeling mattress. Well, they've got all kinds of mattress sets. They've got the Queen Box mattress sets starting at just $29 a month. They've got the Premium Pillow Top, $59 a month, and the Diamond Plush sets at $79 a month. 2 years interest-free. Let me say that again. 2 years interest-free. Oh, that feels good, and it is good. Stop in and check out the great mattress buys at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More, 459 Overland and Burley. Jeff and the crew are there to serve you. In just a moment, we're going to have one of my all-time favorite guests on the program, and she is, well, let me tell you something. When it comes to cars, she leaves me in a cloud of dust. I don't know a tenth of her knowledge, and that's going to be Lauren Fix coming in here in just a moment. Don't forget our friends over at Let's Ride. Oh, crank it up and away we go. Snowmobiles to get up in the hills, all the four-wheelers, the side-by-sides. All you have to do is just stop over to 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. And I want to stress a little bit about the accessories today. They've got everything you need to get on that snow machine or that four-wheeler and get out and enjoy the great southern Idaho outdoors. Absolutely. And another thing that you need to know is they've got the best doggone service department around to keep you running. Good people over at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and it's true. This is where the fun is sold. Stop over and see them today. Right now, let's go to the phone line. And my next, yes, sir, go ahead.
I was just going to text you, but I have not been able to get a hold of her. I'm still trying. I did leave her a voicemail. Would you guys have a backup number?
You know, the number I gave you at 716-440-3888 is the only number I have available. Keep trying that if you would, please.
All right, I can definitely do that then.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Trying to get Lauren Fix on the telephone, and Wheels is going to keep on trying. So up until we do, would you please give me a call at 436-2244, and on the toll-free 866-927-4587. Give me a call. Let us know what your thoughts are. What are your thoughts about, the potentiality of Oprah Winfrey becoming president? I have never liked the lady. I never liked her when she was a TV host. I thought it was a lot of show and pizzazz, which always came back to enamor her and build her up. And then, of course, I didn't like her politics. I do not like her very liberalized stance on many of the social issues that go today, which she highlighted on her television program. And I admit that the lady is very well known. I also admit that she has a war chest of money that absolutely would be comparable to Donald Trump's and or even more so. And this scares me. What are your thoughts? While I'm waiting to find my guest for this half hour, give me a call and tell me, Oprah Winfrey for president? No, please no. Give me a call quickly, please. While I'm waiting for your call. Yes, sir.
I finally have Lauren on the phone for you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Well, I am happy that we found her, and here she is. I'm not going to just call her the car coach. I'm going to call her the car coach guru. I think she's forgot more about cars than I'll ever know anytime. Lauren Fix, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I got the Consumer Electronics Show, so I'm in high demand this week of people asking what the heck is going on, and between Tesla and everything else, everybody kind of wants to know, and I'm the resource, I guess.
You are the most knowledgeable, and when I talked to my guest coordinator, Matt Martini, to get you on the air this morning, he told me that you wanted to talk about these wonderful automobiles that everyone should have one in their garage, the Tesla car. Tell me about it. What's good, bad, and ugly?
About Tesla in general or about EVs?
Oh, the whole ball of wax. Lump it together and throw it up against the wall.
Well, it literally should be thrown up against the wall. The whole thing about electric vehicles is the concept from the previous administration. They really, really wanted everyone to be off using fossil fuels, stop being reliant on the Middle East, and that we were totally, completely encompassed within the United States, that we fueled everything that we used, and that we wouldn't be reliant on, wars that happen and dislikes that happen against the United States. Well, the concept may have been good, but the final result has been miserable at best. So what they've decided is to come up with this great idea. We're going to put electric batteries in cars, and we're not going to use combustion engines. Now, on the surface, let me just let you know this is not new. Carl Benz was the first one to come up with it as Mercedes-Benz, and that was in the 1800s. And in 1913, Baker also made them. But the problem still remains the same problem we have today with batteries. The fact that no matter how big you make them, we have a big issue with the fact that they only have so much range. With gasoline or diesel or even hydrogen, you can go to your favorite fueling station, fuel up, about 3-4 minutes, maybe pick up a soda on the way out the door, and you're gone. Well, that's not the case when it comes to EV vehicles. You've got to plug them in for anywhere between 2 and 6 hours to get enough range to get you where you're going.
Wow.
And you certainly can't travel across the country in the same time period you can with fossil fuels. And just a little caveat on the side, we cannot live without fossil fuels, and I'll tell you why. The phone you have in your pocket or your hand, the water bottle you're drinking out of, the clothes you wear, the sheets you sleep in, literally every single thing you touch every day, believe it or not, has petroleum in them, and that petroleum is what makes plastic. So while you're thinking you're going to get off fossil fuels, it will never, ever happen. As long as you want something plastic. Now, yes, I know there are people out there that want leather and wood. That's great. A lot of times it's treated with chemicals which are made of petroleum. So getting back to the EV thing, why everyone thinks it's great, remember, where does the electricity come from to charge these batteries? Fossil fuels. They come from either coal, they come from nuclear, which is what they're using in China, which is a very efficient form. But then there, why don't we use solar? We're going to use solar because the sun is out. Okay, but most of this country is not that sunny like it is in the lower half of the country. And we're going to use anything else we can come up with. Wind. We're going to use wind. Well, let me tell you, it's less than 4% could it possibly supply the entire United States. So even if we had these gigantic windmills and gigantic farms of solar panels, there's a couple factors involved. One, we've got magnetic fields that come off of the motors that are spinning for those to take wind power. And on the solar side, we have the same problem that we have with the batteries in the car, which is, we've talked about this, cobalt, lithium, graphite, mercury, cadmium, all rare earth metals that are all strip mined in the Congo and China. So now we're no longer reliant on fossil fuels coming out of the Middle East. We're reliant on the Congo and China supplying us with products in order to create batteries, which at some point will no longer have use, but we don't have a place to put all this rare earth minerals that are highly toxic. And the reason we don't mine them in the U.S., because people die. There's 100-mile ranges of where they strip mine this cobalt. And the problem is these people are dying. And the thing is, that land is totally scorched for 400 years.
Wow.
But no one thinks about it. They want to be fossil fuel free, and they want to be green and friendly. This is a very much an Al Gore kind of concept. I get rich. I have a gigantic home that runs fossil fuel EVs that take me where I want to go to my private plane and my private jet. You get the battery powered. You get to go. You're the nobodies. I'm the somebody. And it can't work that way. That is not the answer to the problem. And then we have a bigger problem. You put your phone to your ear. We're all told, we don't know. It might cause cancer. But we want you to be aware, use a wireless headset, which is why wireless headsets and wired headsets have just gone up in sales. But you're sitting on a gigantic battery with your family, and that's your transportation. And then, of course, you plug it into a power station in your home that puts out magnetic fields, especially for using a supercharged station, Working next to supercharged stations, you're exposing yourself to cancer, multiple sclerosis, and tons of other medical issues. And now, finally, I've been saying this for how many years, now medical doctors are saying, yeah, we may have a problem down the road. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. You think you're getting away from fossil fuels, and the fact is you're putting everybody at risk, not just the Earth, but the human beings that live on this
Amen.
Earth. And the fact is, still the smartest way to go is combustion engines, and there are smart ways to save money and to make them better for the environment. But the way we're going with this battery is not the way to go, no matter how much the government shoves it down our throat, because they can't even figure out Amtrak and the post office, but they're going to tell us that we want EV.
You know, you are so articulate and well-knowledged on this, and I really appreciate it. We have a caller with a question quickly. Caller, please, for time's sake, make it short, please. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hey, I have a diesel pickup that pulls quite a bit of weight and pushes out a lot of torque. How's a electric motor supposed to deal with the torque and the longevity that these big engines do when we go up and down the interstate? I'll talk to y'all.
Very good question. If you would, please, Lauren, go ahead.
But I mean, I missed part of that. Something about electric trucks?
I believe he's talking about pulling a heavy load, yes, with a diesel as compared to an electric output engine.
Well, I'll tell you what, your caller is right if he thinks diesel's the answer, because it is the answer. It's all about torque. I love diesel. I have 3 diesel SUVs. I am totally in love with them. Longer range, better torque, better towing, longevity of a compression engine is the way to go. I've always been a fan of Dr. Diesel. And the people that were always pushing combustion engines have always been trying to get rid of diesel because they realize it is a better solution. I'm not talking about Volkswagen and their stupidity. That's a whole different story. But when you're thinking EVs and Tesla's out there saying, well, my truck can pull this. Yes, let's say it could pull a space shuttle. But how far can it pull it? To the end of a drag strip, and then the battery needs to be recharged? How big is this bank of batteries? And then we've got the problem with charging those batteries, and then the disposal of those batteries at the end, and the cost to build those batteries. Those vehicles that he's been promoting, and he's a Pied Piper, he's P.T. Barnum, all smoke and mirrors all day long, this is the problem. He's convincing people this is the way to go, and the price is twice the amount, and the disposal rate at the end is horrendous and dangerous to the environment. But that's not what he's doing. He's trying to hype up money in order to keep his company alive. Tesla has not made a nickel in its entire life. It has taken over $5.2 billion of our taxpayer dollars. And what has he done with it? He's used it to buy himself a private jet. I'm sure he's got a beautiful home, and he's got, all kinds of vehicles to build his SpaceX projects. But the fact is their company still has not made one penny of profit. And we're still funding this. And this is all from the previous administration. And I'm actually going to see Elaine Chao, who's in charge of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, on Sunday. She better be ready for some heavy-duty questions for me, because I'm not going to pussyfoot around.
Lauren, let me ask you this, and when I phrase this, bear with me, but as I look at the entire situation with energy and transportation, and I've thought this for the last 10 years, it's not a new thought with me, that the way we are today, is a plan by the environmentalists and those world leaders that want complete control of their populations in a no-travel world. How far off base do you think I am?
You're not far off base at all, because the whole idea is freedom. When we built cars, that's when the suburbs came around. Then people got to have the freedom to drive cross country, to go see family. It wasn't you had to jump on the train, which really hurt the train industry, and I'm sure they thought it too. But the fact is, once you can get in your car and go wherever you want for as long as you want, that's freedom. When they take that away and say you have to buy an electric vehicle and you have to charge in this charging station, and we control that, we control the cars. And then I was just at the LA Auto Show, and they had some wackadoodle woman who's in the legislature saying, we're going to eliminate all kinds of combustion engine cars. That got presented this week. This woman is nuts, and the guy that's working with her that presented it to their Senate is absolutely crazy. California wants to eliminate all combustion and diesel engine vehicles, that they want everything to be EV only. Let me tell you, if you've ever driven across California, and I'm not talking LA, I'm just talking LA to, out into the desert, that's over an hour. What are you going to do, get out in the desert and try and find a charging station? They're not out there, trust me. You're in the middle of nowhere. You are in Trump country when you're out that far. And I will tell you, it's very interesting. They have no grasp. They're saying that you're not going to own a vehicle. The big corporations are going to own vehicles. You're not going to need to drive. They're going to drive you. Not a chance in this world. I'll tell you the big thing is I happened to be in Buffalo last week. There was a 75-car pileup because there was a total whiteout. There was no computer, no autonomous car that could have saved you. As a matter of fact, it probably would have been more deaths if it wasn't for the fact that a human was behind the wheel that could make a judgment call in a half a second and decide, well, I'm going to drive on the shoulder of the road instead of getting hit by this tractor-trailer. Autonomous cars work on radar, LiDAR, and computers. If they can't see, what are they going to tell you? You can't go where you need to be? No one knew this whiteout was coming. So weather is going to be a huge factor, and it's going to impact whether it be rain, ice, snow, slush, all the things that we experience across this country. There's no way autonomous cars are going to work, and every government is trying to control their people by controlling where they go, when they go, and how they go.
Lauren, how much are you being utilized by your booking agents, etc.? You are the best and most knowledgeable in this topic area. I mean, are you able to talk to politicians? Are you able to downsize and downgrade the environmentalists that want us living in a cave and burning buffalo dung? I mean, how much are you being utilized? Because your knowledge is what needs to be out in the forefront of the American people.
Well, I'm always looking for more. I do talk to a couple politicians as I run into them, and I'm constantly out there on all forms of social media, of course, on the news. I'm on literally every channel under the sun, but I'm always happy to do more because I'm not utilized enough, because this is a story that should be keeping me busy 24/7, 365. I think the more people that know about it and really are educated about it, and I was just having this conversation before I got on our call, that everybody consumes information in different ways, whether it's social media or they still watch television or they listen to the radio or they read the newspaper or whatever form they get, or they just talk to people. But if you're not getting good information, and they're certainly not giving it to the kids in school, then the fact is you only know what you know. So if you can get information, start talking to people, and start learning more, you start to realize that the bulk of the people that you think the bulk of the people love EVs, but the fact is less than 2% of the cars sold in the last year of 17.1 million, and the year before that of 17.5 million, were less than 2% were electric and hybrid. And the only reason they're forced to sell them is currently, unless the EPA changes something, and I do need to get face-to-face with Scott Pruitt and talk to him about this, because this is going to lead to congressional hearings where they're demanding car manufacturers sell it up to 10% of every single state in the United States electric vehicles. And I've had a conversation with a couple different people about this. If you can't demand Ford sell 10% of their total fleet are hybrids and plug-ins. They'll sell them. They'll build them because they have to, because they don't want the penalty. But if they're not selling them, they got to get them off the lot, which means eventually they're going to give them away at a loss. So if these companies keep taking losses, they're going to start letting employees go because they can't afford to pay people to do jobs if they're taking a loss. I mean, that's what Tesla does. He has a loss on everything. He loses $26,000 on every car. So there's a point where manufacturers are going to say, wait a minute, we want a congressional hearing here. Why are we being forced to sell a certain percentage of vehicles that people don't want? And so they'll give them away, but I'll tell you what's going to happen. Someone much smarter than you and I is going to come up with a tractor-trailer and buy every EV they can get for $99 a month, no money down, and they're going to disappear. They're not going to stay here in the U.S. because they'll end up going to other countries. And that's exactly what the plan is. And from what I hear, the gray market is waiting for this to happen. They're going to buy every car they can, literally at a loss, turn around and sell them for a huge profit in another country.
Yeah.
That's not the plan.
Lauren, final thought.
For them, they're the ones going to make the money.
Absolutely.
Stupid thing like cash for clunkers, just an absolute waste of our tax dollars.
Last question and short answer on this, Lauren, but you mentioned politicians, and there is my main fear. On most subjects, whether it's security, whether it's the economy, or whether it's agriculture, most politicians do not do due diligence and do their homework, and they're not real smart about various subjects. How are politicians, in your opinion, informed about this subject with the electric cars?
They don't have a clue. They can't even buy a vowel, as I say. And I'll tell you why they don't have a clue. The fact is, they don't own a car. You and I own cars. We make car payments every day. We pay our insurance. We add fuel to the tank. We do the maintenance that needs to be done, whether you're driving a truck or a car or a motorcycle, of which I've got all three. And I'll tell you, when you have those and you understand the expenses that's involved, and these ding-dongs that are in Washington are saying, add more ethanol, it's great. Yeah, but it destroys engines. We don't care. It's supposed to be better. And besides, that guy's giving me money to say this. So it's all based on these lobbyists who are putting billions of dollars into the pockets of these people that are running for office. And it's, hey, you'll win this election as long as you follow my agenda. So it's become very much the puppet master is the lobbyist who gets what they want. So this is a big issue. Plus, you've got some bad people that are in the mix that are out for their own agenda. So, like George Soros, he's out for his own agenda. These are people that are very scary, and they'll do anything they can to destroy the United States, and we need to fight it. And that means elect the right people, and if the people that you elect don't do the job you ask them to, make sure you tell them you're not going to get reelected. I don't care how much money you have.
This lady is absolutely the best at her trade, and I say compliments and kudos to Lauren Fix, the car coach. She knows what she's talking about. God bless you. Come back soon, Lauren. Thank you.
Anytime, Zeb. Thank you. Make sure to follow me on all forms of social media at Lauren Fix, and my newsletter is at laurenfix.com, the Car Coach Report.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Wow, I learn every time she's on the program, I learn more, and I say kudos to her. Lauren Fix, back on the East Coast, known as the Car Coach. Thank you very much. Whoa, we got to get a weather forecast on here right now, and the weather brought to you by my friends, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. CPAs providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. They care. They're knowledgeable, and they can help you with all your tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, bookkeeping services, retirement planning. I'm telling you what, I am so blessed that we came to know these folks a couple of years ago, and they are good. Get a hold of them today. Offices in Burley and Rupert, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
If you're going to be working outside, expect to get wet today because we are expecting some rain showers. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Looks like cloudy skies for today. Yes, 70% chance of rain showers will continue. A little bit on the breezy side as well. Winds out of the southeast, right around 10 miles an hour. High of 44 is what we're looking at tonight. More rain showers in the lower elevations, snow showers in the higher elevations. Low right near 29. Winds are picking up as well. Winds could gust as high as 30 miles an hour for tonight. Tomorrow, 20% chance of snow showers before noon. Partly cloudy by tomorrow afternoon with a high of 35. Partly cloudy and 26 for Wednesday night. And for Thursday, still a slight chance of rain or snow showers in the forecast. Partly sunny skies, high near 40. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, thank you, Gina. And boy, it is raining outside. And yes, it is wet. A guy like me on those crutches, while I'll rust before I get in the house. Anyway, don't forget, thank you very much to Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Accounting services for the Mini-Cash area and beyond. Believe me, they know and they can help you. And they can help people starting a business or increasing the size of their business, hiring more employees, all of this and so much more. Get a hold of them today with offices in Burley and Rupert. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. I've got time for a phone call. Having Lauren Fix on the program, and she's been on, half a dozen, 7, 8 times, I don't know. And her knowledge about vehicles and her very basic display of what's right, what's wrong, what's ugly, what's not. And I knew for a long time that the condemnation of electric vehicles, as far as I'm concerned, the concept of the electric vehicles, the battery problems, the transportational problems as far as trying to move the batteries into a big trucking type situation and make it fluid across the board where everybody would be phased out of their personal fossil fuel burning engines into electric vehicles. Ain't going to happen because I don't see it as an economical, viable response to a public that relies on their freedom. If they want to go to Aunt Martha's for cake and ice cream, or if they want to go to Uncle Bill's over in Colorado and spend some time on the weekend, this would absolutely destroy the freedom of travel in this country. By the way, I know some folks that you need to get a hold of, and that, of course, is Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, and so much more. Protection for you, your family, and your business. Please get a hold of these folks. Nice people. I really rely on a lot of their expertise. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. The number to call for an appointment, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Well, when the dog barks like she is right now, that means that we have our guest for the next half hour coming into the house, and that's, of course, Dr. History. Hope she don't bite him. I don't want to get sued. And he's going to be coming up next half hour. And then, of course, at 10:30 this morning, we're going to be talking to the president for Americans United for Life, and that's Catherine Glenn Foster. And we're going to be talking about the March for Life that's going to be taking place on January the 19th. So don't forget that. Once again, I want to make a little news note here that next Tuesday, and a lot of people are interested in what's happening up at the legislative session in Boise, whether it's with education, taxes, or whatever the headline might be. We're going to be starting next Tuesday at 9:30 a segment called, like we've had the last 2 years, the Idaho Legislative Update. And my thanks go again to Handy Truck Lines for being the sponsor of that segment next week, starting on Tuesday at 9:30 with Senator, of course, Kelly Anthem. Kelly, great guy. Representative Fred Wood, man, he's always there to help. And, of course, when we can get him away from the gavel, Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, and maybe other guests that will be on that segment. So that's going to be coming up starting again next Tuesday at 9:30. I just wanted to make you aware of that. Now, don't forget, in the next half hour, he just walked through the door, and it takes about 5 minutes to get in here because he's got all of his handlers and he's got all of his protection people guiding him and watching him as he goes around the Magic Valley. Dr. History will be coming up next half hour, and we're looking forward to what he has. One other thing I want to remind you, send your public service announcements to me. So we're going to be starting another new segment on Thursdays for some of the public service announcements and fundraisers. Get those to me. Send them to zebattheranch@hotmail.com. First 4 words run together, zebattheranch, and then the @ hotmail.com. Get those to me as quick as you can. Right now, we're going to send it back over to Wheels for the news, and I'll be back in 7. Oh, my. Look what just swam in the front door, and he's a little bit wet. And it's Dr. History. He's coming up in just a second. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation with Nick and the rest of the crew at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Call them at 678-1191. Well, here he is, and I cannot wait to hear his historical and sometimes hysterical stories. Good morning, Dr. History.
Good morning, Zeb.
How are you, my friend?
Well, you were right. I kind of had to swim in this morning. There's a lot of rain coming down.
Oh, my goodness. You know, just please don't let it freeze.
Right, yeah. But, you know, it's great. We need it for the farmers. That's great.
But, you know, rain and then get cold and snow and guys on crutches can't go anywhere.
That's true.
What are we going to talk about today?
First of all, I need to make a correction from last week.
What did you do?
I mispronounced Pocahontas's father's name.
You said Pocahontas, didn't you?
I said Powhatan.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I want to thank Mike in Virginia who went to my webpage and made a comment and said that I had mispronounced.
In Virginia?
In Virginia.
You made people mad way back there?
He wasn't too mad. He just wanted to make sure I knew how to say the word, the name. So I said, so I emailed him back and I said, Mike, would you please call me on my phone and tell me how that is pronounced?
Okay, what did he say?
So he said it's called, now Mike, if I don't do this right, let me
We're
know.
in trouble again.
He pronounces it, and I hope I'm doing this right, Powhatan. 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 I hope that's right, Mike.
Yetahe.
Because there's a Boy Scout camp back there that's named Camp
Powhatan.
Powhatan.
Okay, I hope you did say it right. Would you quit spitting all over my microphone?
And hi out there to some of the other listeners, Lee and Jeff and John and those others that send comments. And
So he really caught you doing an error in Virginia.
And I appreciate that because I get comments from listeners.
And people say that they don't listen. My goodness, here we're getting critique from Virginia.
I know, it's great.
Powhatan.
Powhatan.
Every time I say pow, I get liquid on my microphone here.
But, one thing I wanted to point out, Zeb, we've been doing this for about 10 years. Do you realize that that's been over 500 shows?
Have we done that many?
We've done that many. And
we're not sick of each other yet.
Well, no, not yet. I hope not.
All right.
But just another little thought. In less than 3 years, my Dr. History webpage, I just checked last night, I've had 2,090,000 hits on my webpage in 150 countries. And that's not counting the subscribers that are on iTunes that are listening to the show.
And I'm going to take this, and this may sound like I'm tooting my own horn, but that's all the more reason I've told people this is the most listened to 3-hour program in all of this area.
Yeah, but it's been a fun deal. But So listeners out there, if you have comments, just go to my webpage, and I'll answer anytime you have a comment.
And on behalf of the management that owns this program, I apologize to Powhatan's family.
Me too.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to talk about a lady that I'm going to stick my neck out again. I don't think anybody has ever heard about.
Here we go.
Her name is Nancy Kelsey.
An easy name.
It is. And so I'm going to just put this out there. If you do know more about this lady, send me a comment on my webpage.
All right.
So
what is she? Who was she?
That's where we're going to go, Zeb, right now. Right. So I'm going to quote a guy by the name of Nicholas Dawson, who was a member of the Bidwell Bartleson Party of 1841.
You're really soaking your microphone with those P's and those B's.
I know. So here's what he said. He said, "Once I remember when I was struggling along, I looked back and saw Mrs. Benjamin Kelsey a little ways behind me, with her child in her arms, barefooted, I think, and leading a horse. It was a sight I shall never forget." Coming across the plains.
Really?
So let's talk about her. Okay. 18 years old, Nancy Kelsey became the first white woman to cross the Sierra Nevadas. The teenager made the long trip overland barefoot with a 1-year-old baby on her hip. Born in Barron County, Kentucky in 1823, she married a guy by the name of Benjamin L. Kelsey when she was 15. And back then they did marry early, 14, 15, 16.
They'd be in jail today.
I know it.
Yeah.
But she had fallen in love with this kind of restless, adventurous spirit of a guy. And from the day the two exchanged vows, she could not imagine her life without him. And at the age of 17, Nancy agreed to follow Benjamin to a strange new land, rumored to be a place where a poor man could prosper. So Nancy, Benjamin, and their daughter Ann arrived in Spalding Grove, Kansas, just in time to join the first organized group of American settlers traveling to California by land.
And barefoot?
Yeah, barefoot.
She walked the whole way?
Yeah. So the train was organized and led by a guy by the name of Bidwell, who was a New York school teacher, and another guy by the name of John Bartleson, and he was kind of a speculator, and he was kind of the leader here. He was the wagon master.
Okay.
What would,
the ward bond.
Yes, he was the guy that was
the ward bond.
Telling where to go and when to stop and one thing and another.
That's what you do.
That's what I do. So, Nancy's recollections of some of the other members of the Bidwell Bartleson Party and the apprehension she felt about the trip were recorded in the San Francisco Examiner in 1893. So this was years later. She described what it was like when the wagon train first set out on May 12th of 1841. And here's what she said, quote, A man by the name of Fitzpatrick was our pilot, and we had a priest with us who was bound for the northwest coast to teach the Flathead Indians. We numbered 33 all told, and I was the only woman. I had a baby to take care of, too.
Well, wait a minute.
That's the scenario.
What happened to her husband?
No, he was still there.
Oh, he's still there?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So, anyway, they left in May.
Why didn't he buy her a pair of shoes, for Pete's sakes?
I think one thing to keep in mind, Zeb, is the people that headed west, a lot of times they had one set of clothes, maybe two if they were lucky.
Yeah.
Maybe. So that from the time they started till the end of the trip, they had one set of clothes.
But walking over the rocks and the snakes and the bugs and the...
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
Oh,
so, like I said, they left in May of 1841. By July, the immigrant party had made it to Fort Laramie, Wyoming. The party experienced little trouble on the first 1,200 miles of the trip, but the difficulties they faced on their travels from Wyoming into California more than made up for that. So, while resting near the Platte River, one of the members of their wagon train was taken captive by Indians. He was later released, but the Indians never stayed too far away from the camp. So here you are going along, and you can see the Indians, over on the hills watching you, I can't imagine going day by day and looking and seeing that, are they going to attack us? What are we going to do
That's
here?
how I feel. We're real close to Highway 30. We got to watch out.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, the Indians' constant presence made the livestock nervous and frightened Nancy, and her baby, Benjamin, her husband, recognized that his wife was fearful, and he stayed close by her side. And whenever she wanted to turn back, he would urge her on by quoting the notices about California that he had read in the Western Immigration Society paper. They called California, quote, a land of perennial spring and boundless fertility.
Well, but wait a minute. Didn't she realize that if they turned back, the opportunities for being encroached upon by the bad people was a lot easier because they weren't in any other numbers?
Right, and that was the dilemma that happened with, and actually happened more than we think, where there was a wagon train of maybe 2 wagons.
Oh, my.
Even 1 wagon in a family.
That doesn't sound smart.
No. And there are stories I've told about,
they'd have been better getting along with Ward Bond and Robert Fuller on wagon train.
Yeah. Well, one story I told a while back was about a family that they were by themselves. And during the night, this guy came in and stole their horses and left them with no horses. So here is this man with his wife and kids sitting on his wagon out in the middle of nowhere.
That sounds like a Democratic Party.
Well, the guy that stole the horses sold them. And after he saw this guy sitting out by himself, he went and re-stole the horses from the guy he'd sold them to, went back and sold them to the guy he had originally stolen the horses from. And
you can't make this up.
No, I can't. And he had a good place in his heart.
I see.
He helped him get on their way.
But let's get back to Barefoot Nancy.
Okay. So, anyway, Nancy's daydreams about the life that they would have there sustained her for a time, but eventually her worst fears were realized. By August, the Bidwell-Partleson party was completely lost.
No.
They knew they were supposed to be near the Humboldt River, but it was nowhere in sight. Food was scarce, and the animals became too exhausted to pull the wagons. And still, the party pushed west, abandoning their wagons one by one.
Oh, my.
And slaughtering their oxen for food.
Oh, no.
So here we are.
So they carried everything they had on their backs.
Well, and that's why the Oregon Trail was littered with cabinets and pianos and stuff that no longer needed to be carried.
Yeah.
So here we are, September 7th, 1841. The weary group located the Humboldt River, finally, but then they could not find the road that would lead them from there to the Truckee River. Now, Nancy held her daughter tightly in her arms and desperately tried to shade her from the sun. Her baby was hungry and cried to be fed, but food was again running short. So now we're in October. Okay, the party, now we're getting close to winter, Zeb.
Darn close.
So the party killed the last of their oxen, the weather turned cold, and Nancy longed to go back home, but, obviously that was not even a...
That wasn't even a chance, no.
So the party continued on until they came face to face with several high peaks, okay?
Uh-oh.
Later, Nancy recalled the struggle through the jagged mountains that appeared to be, and I'm going to quote her again, capped with snow, perhaps of 1,000 years. We had a difficult time finding a way down the mountains. At one time, I was left alone for nearly half a day, and I was afraid of Indians. I sat all the while with my baby on my lap. It seemed to me while I was there alone that the moaning of the winds through the pines was the loneliest sound I had ever heard.
Are you talking about possibly going into Reno?
Yeah.
Okay, Reno, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking in that area over Donner in that direction.
Donner, yeah.
Well, Nancy was an inspiration to her fellow travelers. Many of them kept journals in which they wrote about her bravery and made mention of the fact that her baby was never sick a day of the trip. And that's quite a feat. Now, in 1842, a guy by the name of Joseph Childs, one of the members of the party, wrote about Nancy's courage and strength. And here's what he said, quote, "She bore the fatigues of the journey with so much heroism, patience, and kindness that there still exists a warmth in every heart for the mother and her child."
Wow.
So she was an inspiration. She was the only woman, Zeb.
She carried that baby barefoot every day.
And these men that maybe thought about giving up would see her trudging along.
Why didn't somebody help her?
I think they all had all they could handle themselves. That's the only thing I can think of.
You know, you don't say much about the husband.
No, but I'm going to say he was a good guy. That's just my impression.
Yeah.
And he tried to probably help her, and maybe he carried some of the other things that they were trying to take away.
I was going to say, how did they, when they abandoned the wagons?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what would you take? You'd probably take a gun for protection if you had one.
A blanket.
A blanket. I mean, you can't carry a whole bunch.
No. So everything else was left behind.
What about food?
And they just shot that along the way. Their oxen. So, but Nancy Kelsey's pioneer days did not end once she made it over the Sierra Nevadas. She had hoped Benjamin would settle down and build a life for her and their daughter, Anne. But after 5 months of being in California, he decided to move the family to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Nancy didn't want to go, but she was dedicated to her husband. You know, she'd kind of had a rough time already, and she didn't really want to pick up and go. But
had she bought a pair of shoes yet?
I don't know yet. Oh. It doesn't tell me. So in 1847, Benjamin and Nancy traveled from Oregon to the Napa Valley, the San Joaquin Plains, and Mendocino. Benjamin left Nancy alone in 1848 to see if there was any truth of the gold rumors. Okay. Now, he was gone 10 days, and get this, Zeb, brought back $1,000 in 10 days.
That was a lot of money back then.
Oh, yeah. Well, the next time he went to the mines, he took a flock of sheep up for mutton and brought back $16,000.
That was a lot of money in those days.
$16,000. So he
still no shoes.
Well, I think by now she had maybe several pairs. But, you know, he used the money to buy Nancy, and by this time their two daughters, a lake ranch in a town the people had helped build called Kelseyville. Have you heard of Kelseyville?
I have.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. So Nancy was finally living the good life her husband had promised her, but it was short-lived. Benjamin sold the lake ranch after a few months and took his family down the Humboldt River to be among the first settlers of Eureka and Arcata.
Yeah.
Just when Nancy thought they would finally stay put, Benjamin came down with tuberculosis, and they were compelled to travel to a drier location for his health.
Where did they go, down south? Like Bakersfield or whatever?
Yeah. Okay. In 1874, Nancy followed Benjamin back to California. He built her a cabin high up in the mountains in the area around San Diego.
Uh-huh.
And he died in Los Angeles in 1888. Nancy actually died of cancer in 1896.
Wow.
And her grave in Santa Barbara is marked by a rock, and the simple inscription just reads, Kelsey. That's all it says.
That's it?
That's just it. It says
and
Kelsey.
she was buried there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the story.
What about her descendants, though, her children?
That's what, we've talked about that a lot. I would love to have some listener out there say, hey, that's my great-grandmother, or...
They got to be out there.
Yeah, they've got to be. They had two daughters that, I'm going to guess, probably grew up in California.
Why can't you go to the computer and kind of file for a family tree?
I could if I knew how to do more than just push on the...
Well, call Mike or call Nick back in Virginia.
It wasn't Nick.
What was it, Mike?
Mike.
Okay. Mike in Virginia, help us get a family tree on the Kelseys.
Okay, now I've got another little short story. Do we have time?
How am I supposed to say no?
Probably 3 or 4 minutes.
You've got at least 6.
Okay, well, let's go with this one. This lady is named Nellie Pooler Chapman.
Nellie who?
Pooler. Pooler. Chapman.
Oh, okay.
Here's what she says. Nellie Chapman, actually, if you can picture this, okay, she's standing on kind of a riser type thing, and she was gazing inside the mouth of a burly, distressed miner, and she shook her head. She would have to remove the tooth that was causing the prospector so much pain. Nellie selected a corkscrew-type instrument to begin the process.
Oh!
She wrapped the tool around the tooth and with considerable effort, wrenched it out of the man's mouth. The relief he felt was almost instant. Felt better instantly.
Not at the time.
Yeah. Oh, no, he felt good.
No.
Well, Nellie Chapman was the first woman licensed to practice dentistry in the Old West. In her 30-year career, she would care for numerous residents in Nevada County, California. She was born actually in Maine in 1847, and at the age of 13, relocated with her parents to the Gold Country. And there she met and married this guy by the name of Dr. Allen Chapman, and he was actually a prominent dentist in the area, and the parlor in the home he built for his new bride included a dental office. Okay, so Nellie did not enter the field of dentistry eagerly. She assisted her husband in his work, but was not really that interested in the job as a career. But it wasn't until she had spent years learning about the profession from her husband that she applied for a license and became a full-fledged dentist in 1879.
You know, you've got me really shaking here. I don't like that stuff.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't like dentists at all.
She was the first woman to be registered in the field in the Western Territories. And when her husband decided to open an office in Virginia City, Nevada, Nellie chose to remain behind in California and continue working at the practice by herself. And Alan, her husband, had initially established this practice, but he traveled back and forth from his business in Nevada to visit his wife and children and help out in Nevada City. And in his absence, Nellie was the sole dentist between Sacramento and Donner Lake.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of territory.
Yeah.
So Dr. Chapman outfitted her thriving practice with a porcelain bowl, a crystal water glasses, the most modern drills, and stuff like, all the stuff they need. The chair her patient sat in was covered in red velvet. This just wasn't a fly-by-night deal here.
Oh, no.
So 1897, Nellie's husband passed away. She continued on with the practice for another 9 years, providing care for Northern California residents. Now, Nellie's talents extended well beyond dentistry. She was also a poet. She was a musician. She participated in the local Shakespeare Club. She wrote several musical compositions. In addition to being involved in the civic organizations, she was a mother of 2 boys, both of whom became dentists. And in 1906, Nellie Chapman passed away. Her sons donated the contents of her practice to the School of Dentistry in San Francisco. And Dr. Chapman was 59 when she died and was buried at the Pioneer Cemetery in Nevada City, California.
And on her tombstone is a giant 6-foot by 6-foot molar.
Tooth.
Yeah.
So those are 2 women, and again, I'm going to step out and say, I'll bet nobody has heard about it.
You know, though, we got just a minute or two, but when you think about dentistry, and you and I did a program on dentistry in the Old West quite some time ago.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, I don't even like to think about, look at my hands are sweating talking about it. Can you imagine dentistry in the Old West? Oh my goodness, they didn't have anything for pain, and it was kind of like sit in the chair and wrench it out of you.
Well, let's see, who was the guy?
Doc Holliday.
No, there was another guy that was having a dentist pull his tooth. That was a bad guy. I'd have to think about that.
He shot him, didn't he?
Well, no, the dentist pulled the wrong tooth.
Yeah, that's it.
He pulled the wrong tooth, and so he put the dentist in the chair and started to pull out one of his teeth.
Yeah. I mean, what's fair for one is fair for all.
Yeah.
But, the pain, and when you said she took the tool and she wrapped it around his tooth and then twisted it out of his mind. I was laying here on the floor while you're telling that.
Well, thank goodness. I mean, when I go into the dentist, I want to be dead.
I don't like dentists.
I don't want to feel anything.
If you're listening out there, I don't like dentists. I'm scared of them.
I like them when I'm in pain.
Well, okay, 2 ladies we hadn't heard of, but now we have.
Yeah. And again, thanks to the listeners. And so you listeners are out there, you can find me on iTunes. So just go to iTunes. You can listen while you're driving down the road. There's probably 160 stories on there right now.
And it's just like Bugs Bunny used to say, abba 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 abba. That's all, folks.
That's it.
That wasn't Bugs. Who was that said that? Yeah, it was Bugs Bunny, wasn't it? Or it was Porky Pig.
Porky Pig.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know how we got that in there. Are you going to be here next week?
I will be here next week.
Okay, now see, I've got you as not being here next week, but you are going to be here next week.
I'll be here next week, yeah.
Good. We'll look forward to it. What are we going to do? We're going to talk to Nick in Virginia again about whatever his name was?
Mike in Virginia.
Mike. That's it. Okay. Sorry, Mike.
Powhatan.
That's different than what you said the first time.
No, it isn't. Powhatan. Is that right, Mike? I hope that's right.
I got to run. Hey, listen, thanks a lot.
All right.
Dr. History right here every Tuesday, and he is such a blessing to have on the program. And we're going to next week talk about Mrs. Kelsey and her tombstone with that big molar. Okay, Doc, take care of yourself.
Thanks, Ed.
All right. Hey, before you go, I need to visit with you for a second. But anyway, I want to tell everybody, I just turned your microphone up full tilt. And when you were scratching your face, I could hear it. Anyway, I want to remind everybody about our segment on Thursdays called School Days in Cassia County. God bless our two wonderful sponsors, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, with all the winter dresses and the coats and, of course, all the toys and the games and the puzzles and the furniture. They've got it all for you right there at a wonderful store, A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley, along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley, and the number to call and find out how they can save you money on outpatient surgeries, 677-8888. Be sure and call today. Ambulatory Surgery Center, 677-8888. Along with the Child's World, bringing you School Days in Cassia County on Thursdays at 10:10, right here on Zeb at the Ranch. We're going to send it over to our main studio. I'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Good morning, and it is great weather for ducks outside. Man, it is really coming down. Rain, rain, rain on top of the snow, and all I hope is that it doesn't freeze. I'll be homebound if it does, I'll tell you that. Right now we're going to go to the phone line, and I'm very blessed to have the president of Americans United for Life. And I've had other people with this organization on in the past, and we say a good morning to Catherine Glenn Foster. How are you?
Well, thanks so much for having me. I just wish it were a little warmer and a little drier out here, just as by you.
You know, Catherine, where am I calling? What area of the United States are you in right now?
Washington, D.C., nation's capital. So we are right in the middle of this polar bomb, I think they're calling it. It is cold and wet and icy. I'm sure it probably doesn't compare to you all and what you all see, but it's a lot for us.
No, that's all right. Weather is relevant. If you're uncomfortable, you're uncomfortable. It doesn't make any difference where you are. Give me a little background, and for my audience also, if you would, this morning, Catherine, about Americans United for Life. What is it? What do you do? And what do you hope to achieve?
Absolutely. We are the first national pro-life legal organization. We were founded in 1971, 2 years before Roe v. Wade. And in short, we're the legal architects of the pro-life movement. We work on strategy. We work at the federal and the state level in legislatures and courts and in culture, working towards the day when everyone is welcomed in life and protected in law. And we have been involved, just as a little fact, we've been involved in every single life-related case before the U.S. Supreme Court since and including Roe v. Wade.
Wow. I'm going to kind of jump around here a little bit from lily pad to lily pad, if you don't mind, like a big old frog. But I'm going to ask you this. In this country, and I'll state right up front, I am very pro-life. In this country, I think that we have lost, as an American society, the respect and the honor for life, whether it's at birth or whether it's for the elderly on the other end of the scale. Would you agree with that?
You know, it definitely seems and feels that way sometimes. we look around us and we see legalized abortion. We see this push for assisted suicide and denial of care in the name of compassion, in the name of sometimes radical autonomy. But when you look at the statistics, it's interesting because we see that the younger generations are increasingly pro-life. In many cases, more pro-life than their elders, more pro-life than their parents. We see that 8 in 10 Americans disagree with abortion after the first trimester. They want to roll back abortion at least to the end of the first trimester, and that is huge. That shows that that we can reach people, and the messaging is working. It can be tough. It can be disheartening at times, but I see a lot of hope out there.
You know, it's good to hear you say that, and I certainly hope that the facts and figures bear out what you said. But when I listen to the audacity and the absolute inhumanity of Planned Parenthood and what they're trying to project, and you look at the younger generation, I am very concerned that there isn't a respect for life.
No, and you are absolutely right on that. Planned Parenthood making now a profit of $100 million just this last year in their latest annual report, which came out over New Year's weekend. We see that they are using so much of their money on marketing, on trying to just shape the message about their product, and we see that their product at its core is abortion. The abortion numbers at Planned Parenthood blessedly went down a tiny bit this last year. They went down 2%, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but what that results in is about 7,000 lives that weren't taken. On the other hand, that tells you how many lives they're still taking. It's more than 300,000 every year. And for that, we are paying them more than $500 million.
Wow.
Every year, billion with a B.
Well, we've got a caller with a question, Catherine, but before I put that caller on the air, I want to ask you one simple question. If they're showing profits in the millions, why in the world are they still begging and getting a lot of transference of our taxpayer dollars into their account?
They have a lot of well-heeled friends and a lot of friends in the political system. And they're able to use that very effectively. That's part of what we see with Planned Parenthood Action, just their incredible marketing machine. And that's what we're up against. That's what we have to counter when their patient numbers are down since 2006. Their actual services, life-saving kinds of potential services, like cancer screening, prevention services, down 67% since 2006. And yet a massive increase in taxpayer funding.
Wow.
And increase in abortions since 2006.
Oh, my goodness. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am, just a little reflection on the social barometer, I guess you might say. I don't know if you heard that student that he didn't know realized he was being recorded, and he was talking about his inability to communicate with a baby. So that was the reason why it would be all right to end the baby's life. I mean, throughout our country, these universities, what's going on there in some respects is absolutely beyond frightening. But then you bring up good, positive news. I just wanted to get a comment. I'll hang up.
And I'll let you, Catherine, if you would please refer back to the caller. Go ahead and give your thoughts.
Absolutely. When we hear stories like that, it breaks my heart. As a mother, as a woman, as a human being, it's just tragic. And yet, that isn't the first we've heard of that kind of argument. We have in our nation's universities, we have professors, scholars who sometimes advocate for just that kind of thing. And I think that's what led to Planned Parenthood and other abortion industry facilities thinking that it would be okay to bring in middlemen to harvest and sell baby body parts. You hear about these kinds of atrocities, and it's disheartening. But on the other hand, we know the DOJ, the FBI, they are taking this seriously, and we have over the last couple of months, we're seeing the first public signs anyway that our government is really investigating, is taking this seriously, and is beginning to hold the abortion industry accountable. We've seen that happen a little bit on the financial front, not enough, not nearly enough, with waste, abuse, potential fraud. We've seen it happen a little bit on the health and safety front, not enough. Some inspections, but AUL's unsafe report documents just how bad things can get in these abortion facilities. And now we're starting to see it happen, finally, on the harvesting and selling baby body parts front that was so horrifyingly, graphically brought to life by undercover work.
Right.
Just a couple of years ago, and we're seeing the fruits of that beginning to come through.
Catherine, I want to get into the march in just a moment on 10 days from now, January 19th, but I want to ask you something else. It must be frustrating for you, because it has been very frustrating for me as a talk show host on various and sundry issues. When I talk to politicians, they are very naive or not well informed as to what they're voting for or against. Isn't that the same with this issue?
A lot of our nation's elected representatives, they just get this at its core. And I think we all, as a people, we get this, that every innocent human life deserves to be protected, that everyone deserves to be welcomed in life and protected in law. And so there's that aspect. But then when it comes to the facts and the figures and just what they need, the evidence that our elected officials need to back up the bills they're trying to pass, these good bills, and the bad bills that they're fighting against.
Yeah.
Sometimes, they need education just like anyone else, and that is a large part of what we do. We step in, we fill that gap in knowledge. You think about, Planned Parenthood saying 3% of our services are abortion. Well, we can take that apart pretty easily. 3% of their services are abortion only when you count every single individual service, anything that might happen in the course of a visit separately, and obviously handing someone a pack of pills or talking with them for 2 minutes about some kind of practice or something is different than an abortion. That's the focus of the visit, and 96% of Planned Parenthood's services to pregnant women are in fact abortions. 96% of the pregnant women who walk through the doors of a Planned Parenthood, they end up one way or another having an abortion.
Right.
So when you think about elected officials, it's really just about making sure that they have the information they need, the tools in their toolbox, if you will, so that they are able to advance those good laws that they're putting forward.
Catherine, give me a little background, a little thumbnail sketch and history of the past Marches for Life, and then tell us about what's happening this year and when.
Sure. Well, the March for Life is traditionally held during the week of the anniversary of Roe v. Wade, which, as you and your listeners know, it was January 22, 1973. The very first march was on the 1-year anniversary, and we, as a movement, we plan to continue every single year until Roe v. Wade is overturned. The March for Life in D.C. is the world's largest pro-life demonstration, with hundreds of thousands of people from across the country, from across the world. It has a huge millennial presence, a huge female presence, and a huge presence of politicians, leading figures in our society. People like President Ronald Reagan, Dr. Bernard Nathanson, who was the founder of NARAL, a former abortionist who became a pro-life advocate. We've had Norma McCorvey, the plaintiff in Roe v. Wade, President George W. Bush, of course, Vice President Pence. It is a bipartisan event, and it is such a wonderful and encouraging and uplifting place to be, where we're marching both in remembrance of those lost and in hopes that one day we will be able to overturn Roe v. Wade, return the issue to the states, and start saving lives. So this year, the march is going to be held on Friday, January 19th, and we're expecting a huge turnout, as always. It's 1 year since the inauguration of President Trump, and we're also hearing that we may have some kind of pro-life vote. I can't share exactly what at this point, but some kind of pro-life vote in Congress that same week. This year the theme is Love Saves Lives, focusing on pregnancy resource centers, Down syndrome and disabilities, like Ohio just passed a bill on, and we're just focusing at Americans United for Life on love saving lives through the law, on how we can use the law to demonstrate love and to save the lives of our nation's unborn children and of everyone from conception to natural death.
Absolutely. I think a lot of my listeners around the region and around the various states of the United States that are listening right now, and there are numerous people in all walks of life, if they want to become involved and they want to find out more, is there a center of information number, or what can you provide them to check on?
Well, when you're talking about Americans United for Life, our website is AUL.org, like Americans United for Life.org. And then for the March for Life, their website is marchforlife.org.
Okay.
Another great organization, and that's the hub to find information about coming out for the march, following along with the march. It is such an uplifting event.
In the past, I've had Jeannie Mancini on my program, and I'm very honored and proud to have you, Catherine Glenn Foster, on my program for the March for Life for January 19th. And thank you for taking the time and the effort and for all you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Very nice lady right there. And the March for Life, the 45th annual March for Life in Washington, D.C. on January the 19th. And I thank Catherine Glenn Foster for coming on the program this morning. Oh my, we've got to get to the weather forecast. And you can look outside and kind of say, well, it's going to rain, Zeb. Yes, it is. It is. Scarrows Meats brings us the weather this hour at 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, which is scarrowsmeats.com. Delicious meats. I was talking about the marinated prime rib and all the smoked hams and the breakfast bacon and the bratwurst. Oh, it's delicious, all of it. Check it out at Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
If you're going to be working outside, expect to get wet today because we are expecting some rain showers. Here is your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Looks like cloudy skies for today. Yes, 70% chance of rain showers will continue. A little bit on the breezy side as well. Winds out of the southeast, right around 10 miles an hour. High of 44 is what we're looking at tonight. More rain showers in the lower elevations, snow showers in the higher elevations. Low right near 29. Winds are picking up as well. Winds could gust as high as 30 miles an hour for tonight. Tomorrow, 20% chance of snow showers before noon. Partly cloudy by tomorrow afternoon with a high of 35. Partly cloudy and 26 for Wednesday night. And for Thursday, still a slight chance of rain or snow showers in the forecast. Partly sunny skies, high near 40. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Yes, it's going to be wet. Somebody bring the wood. Let's start building the ark. There we go. Hey, Scarrows Meats, Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. As I said, the number to call for more information, 324-7657. Scarrows Meats. Delicious. Changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Oh, I've got time for a call or two. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, good morning, caller. How are you?
Hey, Zeb, did you happen to catch, did they show on the national championship game that Trump was, I know he stood there and he sang the national anthem, and I guess the response was very favorable, or maybe even more than that. Did they show that? I didn't get a chance to watch that part of it. Did they show that on the beginning of that game?
They did, and I'll be honest with you, Deanne and I specifically watched the opening of the game to see if they played the national anthem on television. And yes, ESPN, their announcers did not say one single word about Donald Trump, which I thought was absolutely very low of ESPN. The in-house announcer at the stadium, the Coliseum, introduced President Trump, but the ESPN announcers themselves, both the play-by-play and the color man, Herb Kirkstreet, never said a word about President Trump, which, according to ESPN and some of their policies, is being far left, I thought was atrocious. But they did show him. They did show the entirety of the national anthem. I thought President Trump did a wonderful job standing there tall and proud for the anthem, and yet the criticisms are still raining down.
Well, one of the things that we need to think about here is that the national championship college football game was through the roof, its rating. And the response to Trump was extremely favorable, or if not better than that.
Yeah.
And then over the last weekend, the NFL ratings were down, and I guess that show the other night with Oprah, saying something, whatever it was she said, those ratings are way down, and so the real people want real things, and they want the truth. It sounds like you got a call. I'll hang up.
Well, Randy, I want to tell you something before you leave. Don't make yourself such a stranger. It's always good to hear from you. Thank you.
Well, I've been out of town and so busy. It's just been crazy hectic. So I'll be in touch.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Hey, if I'm not mistaken, ESPN is like NBC owned, and that would make a lot of sense. I may be wrong, but I believe that they either own all of them or a great part.
As far as the money is concerned, I know they've had a lot of financial difficulties, and they've made a appeal to some various sources to possibly buy the network in its entirety. They've laid off a bunch of people because of an extreme leftist optimism and attitude that they have in that company, and they have let a lot of people go that do not share their same beliefs. I, for one, am a sports addict. I love sports, but I am refusing to watch ESPN or stand behind ESPN on anything. The only reason I watched the game last night was because 2 great college teams were playing, and I wanted to see how they treated our President Trump.
Amen. I watched it because of that also, but I also watched, and as soon as I see people kneeling at our anthem, I don't care if it's the best game that ever was played, and I want to watch it bad. I just bite my lip and turn the channel. I'll go to an old Western.
I could not agree with you more. And one thing I will say, from my past, my heritage, and what I've been for the last 55 years, you don't go to a rodeo and see any cowboys kneeling for the anthem.
Oh, heck no. And I used to ride bareback, so I'll give you that.
All right, my friend. Happy New Year to you, and God bless you for your call. Thank you so much.
You too.
Thank you. By the way, before we run out of here today, I want to say thank you to our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, and the rain is falling. And then if it gets a little greasy and icy out there, look out. It's going to get slippery. Well, get ready for the bad part of wintertime driving. The snow, the ice, the muck, the yuck, everything. They've got the traction tires for you at all 7 locations. For your car, pickup, SUV. I mean, go in there, talk to them. They'll find the right tire for your driving. And don't forget, they've got all the tire chains. They've got the best in brake service, really highly trained technicians, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. Whoa, have they got a great selection of batteries. All of this and more with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Doing the right thing matters, and they do the right thing. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We're going to run. Tomorrow morning we'll see you at 8:06. And remember this, the way things were are the way things ought to be.